Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this super easy circus themed cake. I do apologize there was no video last week. I moved, it was crazy. I totally overestimated how much work I was going to be able to get done, but I am going to have extra videos this week to make up for it. I'm starting out with a 6 and 4 inch cake that I've already iced and covered in fondant and stacked. If you need to see how to get to this point, I will link those videos below. I grabbed a fluffy brush and I'm going to be applying a thin layer of shortening over the entire side of my bottom tier. I'm going for the classic striped circus tent theme, so I have some strips of red and white fondant and I'm applying those, just alternating the colors and cutting them off where they're flush with the top of the cake. As I'm applying them, I'm just making sure that I'm going in with my fondant smoother and just straightening them out. It's very easy for these to get crooked and all out of whack, so just going in with that little tool every once in a while, make sure that you're going to get a nice clean look. I picked up these striped paper straws from the dollar store. They were perfect for the look I was going for. And I'm applying one on either side, just sticking that into the bottom tier and slightly angling it outward. I added one more into the top of my cake and I did set that back so it wasn't directly in the middle. I'm inserting some wooden skewers into each of my straws, just making sure there's a little bit sticking out at the end. I have some baker's twine here. You can also just use regular old string, and I'm going to start tying that around each of the tops of my wooden skewers. If you don't want to go through the hassle of making this yourself, you can buy little kits that have the paper banners pre-made. I couldn't find them in my area, and this way you can customize the colors to whatever you're using. I cut out diamond shapes of red and blue fondant, and I'm just going to fold that over on itself so that the middle point is directly on the string. I rolled out a piece of black fondant and just pressed that gently onto the front of my cake. And then with my X-Acto knife, I just free-handed the shape that I wanted for the front of my tent where it would be opening. For the curtains, I rolled out some red fondant and I'm cutting out some circles of that. And then with that same circle cutter, I'm going to trim it down into 3 little U shapes. I placed my first one down, just bringing it onto the black a little bit, and then layered the other 2 on top of each other and cut the excess off on either side. I'm using a little bit of shortening to stick everything together, but you could also use some water if you'd like. I'm rolling out more of that red fondant and then cutting that down into a square shape. And to get that pleated look, I'm just folding it over onto itself a couple times before cutting away the excess. I made 2 of those and put them on either side. I do apologize if the lighting is being a little bit weird. This is not going to be where I'm filming my cakes from now on. I just don't have my actual filming room. Yes, that's right, an actual filming room, which will be lovely, set up. So this is just like an in the meantime type of thing. So once everything was on there, it looked like this. I wanted to make some really easy cartoony looking popcorn. So I rolled out a couple balls of white fondant, and then I rolled out more white fondant, and with my flower cutter, I just punched out a bunch of those. I took my balling tool and flattened out each petal and then placed one on each of those white balls that I rolled out, and with the end of my modeling tool, I just indented the center of that. For an added effect, you could also brush on some yellow for like a buttered look, but I was totally rushed doing this and didn't even think of it until after. To make my seal, I've got gray fondant, and I'm going to start rolling it out so that one end is really tapered and then the other end kind of has like a ball on the end of it. Very gently, I'm going to start pulling that ball out into a point and then angling that up so it looks like the head is pointed up at the sky. Teensy disclaimer, because my conscience is telling me to, I do not support animals in the circus or performing for us in any capacity. This was just what a client requested. It's only okay with me if it's in cake form, otherwise no dice. To help this firm up in the shape that I wanted, I just added a little bit of tissue to rest against the front so it stayed pointing upwards. I cut out some diamond shapes from light yellow fondant, and I'm adding those right in the middle of my top tier, just making sure the points on the side touch so it stays pretty level going all the way around. I'm using the back of my modeling tool to indent right where those corners meet, and then with a little bit of shortening on my gold dragée, I'm just sticking that in place. I added my popcorn around the base, mixing up which position they were going in so they didn't all look exactly the same. Once my seal had firmed up and it was staying in place, I added that to the top of my cake, and then I used a piece of dried spaghetti versus a wooden skewer because it was just a little more thin. And you can see I'm adding that right in the tip of the nose, and I'm kind of twisting that as I add it in because it causes like a little bit less of like a blunt force going into the seal, and it's not warping the head as much. I pressed it all the way through until I felt it go into the cake, and I just quickly kind of reshaped the nose so it was more pointed. I added this flattened teardrop shape on either side for the flipper, and I just indented the base of that a little bit to give it some more texture. And then I added two more smaller flippers on the base of the tail as well. I added a little black ball for his nose, and then I have a ball of red fondant that I added some Toothless powder to, and I let this dry completely before I gently push that down on the piece of spaghetti, just being careful that I'm not pushing that down onto the nose. It should be firm enough that it's not going to slip down. If you try to add it while it's too soft, the ball is just going to mush into the seal's face. I added 3 balls of yellow fondant onto the tip of each of my straws just to hide that wooden dowel and any of that string that's just knotted up. I used my balling tool to create a space for some big sprinkles I had. I used a big white one for the middle and then 2 smaller balls on either side of that. I used one of my cutters to punch out a star, and I added that onto the ball. And then with a black marker, I also added an eye. You can see I took the ball off just for 1 second. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to mess that up somehow and stick my finger into it. So once I had the eye on there, I just put the ball back in place. I brushed each of those yellow balls with some gold luster dust. I mixed with a little bit of food grade alcohol, and I also painted the star gold as well. And this was the final result, guys. Another pretty simple cake, but I do promise you I have some epic ones coming your way, and I mean epic. So don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see those. I put new videos out every week, unless it's last week when I'm moving. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.